I made a ton of mistakes in my 20s that I lived with a lot of shame, and then because I just would mask it all. And I couldn't figure out why I was so depressed. Like I had a number of depressive episodes in my early life, as even as a teenager, I look back. But nobody in the 80s and 90s knew much about ADHD for girls.
Hello and welcome to Coffee Connections for Christ. This is a brand new twist on Coffee Connections podcast. And my very first guest with this new twist is a wonderful and beautiful, caring lady named Erin Vogt. Erin is an ADHD systems strategist. She's a new YouTuber and host of a new podcast called Busy Brain, Bold Faith. She helps Christian businesswomen strengthen their systems game at home and in their business, so they can follow through on what God's called them to do, all the while trusting Him to lead the way and ditch the self-help hustle. We all know about that self-help hustle. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, that'd be great if you did. Like and share with anybody that you know that actually might have ADHD and trying to run their busy life without pulling out what's left of your hair. Share this video with somebody that you know, and I hope that it is a blessing, and I hope God is glorified through this video. Erin, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Cindy.
Would you mind introducing yourself to myself and the viewers, and maybe share a little bit of where you grew up and what your background is like?
For sure. It's such an honor. I didn't know I was the first guest on this new twist, so thank you.
Yes.
So I live in Lethbridge, Alberta, and I'm married with two girls. They're 13 and 9. And so Southern Alberta was my home growing up. I'm a farm girl, and we lived in BC and Manitoba before we settled down here. And my background professionally is in social work. So I've worked with all sorts of people, all different backgrounds, and I did a lot of community development work. And God decided that I wasn't going to get to meet him until I was about 35, to be honest with you. And I went through a lot of different challenges, struggles, I'll say, with my mental health, including postpartum depression twice. And what's led me into the coaching world was really from taking a stress leave from my career. I'd done nonprofit social work for a long time, and it was actually in 2019, December of 2019, if you can imagine. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020.
Yes.
The world was just like a screeching halt. And so I ended up in the coaching space, going back to school online. And it's all worked out in the sense of just really intentionally meeting God at a time that I truly needed it, even though He'd always been with me, right? He's always with us, but until we know who He is and really understand that. And at that time, I had been going to church a little bit, but I didn't truly go through my come to Jesus moment. I was baptized Easter Sunday, my family, 2018.
Oh, wow.
And so my experience and my journey, I guess you could say, with Christ has been about 8 years, very heavily involved in our local church. We have, I'll say it's called Parallel Church, and it's in Lethbridge. Here is our main campus, but we have campuses around Alberta, and it's an incredible place of community, of love, of stewardship. And I was just craving that, coming from a small town, years living in the city and not truly having that community. And now I just can't wait to go every Sunday. I'm an usher. My husband does security. My kids work in the preschool. We all volunteer.
Wow.
I'm a sports mom, very, very busy. But God is front and center for our life. And then
Right.
just recently, in the last, I would say 5 months, um, God really put the brakes on my business and
Mm-hmm.
really recognized where the self-help obsession that I'd had in studying it in personal development for 20 some years was leading me on a path that was just not right for
Right.
me. So I essentially pivoted completely my business and I got off social media.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I realized it's like long form content is the way to go. I pretty much
Mm-hmm.
live on YouTube um, for my own information, for my news, and just seeing the craziness of the world when you're not bogged down with news headlines and social media
Right.
to really
Right.
to know who God is. And I got to
Yeah.
just see my Bible. I have it with me all the time, but I got tabs from my Bible.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But
And what do the tabs mean? The books of the Bible, or
each
yeah,
book, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So, because before I would be like very lost, right?
yeah.
Um, but it's changed everything for me. And I just truly know that coming from this lens of ADHD, I'm not afraid to talk about it as a coach. But I
Mm-hmm.
really recognize for Christian women, especially because we want to take ownership of where God's calling us to be. And so
Right.
I stepped into a niche,
Mm-hmm.
if I can say, I don't think many people are in. So
Right.
I'm diving into like brand new territory,
Yeah.
but I'm having fun with it. And God showed me, I was in the wilderness, and He showed me that you don't have to live your life on comparison mode in social media.
Is ADHD something that a person is born with, or is it from environment or a combination? When did you first, like, what are the symptoms of ADHD?
That's a loaded question. I honestly wasn't diagnosed till I was 35, Cindy,
Mhm.
and I'm 44. So
Were you a precocious child, always into everything, or like, or what kind of child were you?
very much into sports, but very struggled severely with like math and science, more the type A black or white stuff. But I could write, I could do speaking engagements. I was really into social studies. I was really into the written part of life, but I
Right.
didn't, my concrete, like left side of my brain was not computing a lot. And so I used to use that as like, that's just a sign that I'm not supposed to have, this big fancy job. I job jumped a lot in my 20s. I struggled socially with friends because I was just everyone's shoulder. I
Hmm.
would say I was like a counselor since I was 8 years old.
Hmm.
But
So you're very empathetic.
yeah, like people, and I mean, you can't be a social worker without having that angle. And everywhere I go, people tell me their life story, and I love it, but I also didn't have boundaries. And so it led me down the path of a lot of counseling when I was like my early adulthood. I got messed up in a really terrible relationship with somebody, and like I made a ton of mistakes in my 20s that I lived with a lot of shame, and then because I just would mask it all. And I couldn't figure out why I was so depressed. Like I had a number of depressive episodes in my early life, as even as a teenager, I look back. But nobody in the 80s and 90s knew much about ADHD for girls. It was just
Right.
never, ever, ever talked about. And if it
Right.
was like, oh, they just had an answer for you was Ritalin, or they just thought
Yes.
this hyperactive boy that just couldn't sit still, and therefore they heard this ADHD thing.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame because I meet people all the time, clients, peers, friends that are like in their 40s, 50s, even in their 60s, and they are finally discovering that they've had this their whole life. So are they born with it? Possibly. I don't know. But
Hmm.
I also know that our world is so massively distracted. Social media and phones in general our attention spans are next to nothing.
Yeah.
So it just exacerbates it.
Yeah.
The other thing I've done so many deep dives on ADHD is that even the experts will say, like, there's no way to truly diagnose this. It's
Hmm.
colluded with a lot of other things.
Right.
And I think from a mental health standpoint, the DSM, that manual, they still don't even truly know.
Mm.
So I always say, like, I can support you if you have the symptoms of it, if you think you may be or diagnosed or not. It's
Right.
really behavior.
Right.
And I'm a habit coach. So that's what I'm trained in. And then I just truly feel for people that feel like it's a prison sentence when really it isn't. And I love to talk about the strengths of ADHD. So that's kind of my mission
Oh, okay.
for God, is to say, we're going to dispel this myth that you can't be successful even though you have ADHD.
Well, speaking of, can you point out some of the highlights and benefits that a person that has ADHD, especially a woman, can focus and harness?
For one, this isn't the main one, but this is what comes to me when I'm just thinking about it. When you live a life of being masked and treated a certain way or having to be inauthentic just to fit in, you end up a very empathetic mother. You end up a very empathetic wife and person. And you're very good with people. I know most people with ADHD who are very good with people, very good with concepts around creativity.
Hmm.
In business, how many entrepreneurs do we know that, likely have some form of that or feel that they are? I just meet them all the time because they're
Hmm.
like, they don't fit the mold. To be an entrepreneur, it's very different than working a job and having to stay in that same position year after year, right?
Yeah.
That's one element. The other thing I always say is we're putting jigsaw puzzle pieces together. And
Mm.
I can tell you about a book that I read in 1998 that is leading me in a coaching session in 2025. And I'll be
Mm.
like, hold the phone. I need to go look at this book for a minute and I'll come back and pick it up.
Oh.
The hyper focus aspect is really key too, because now there's drawbacks to this if you're not with your time boundaries.
Mm.
But hyperfocus is known as one of those, like, this is how things get created out of nothing,
Hmm.
right? Screenplays and anything in the entertainment
Inventions.
world,
Inventions. Yeah.
inventions. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the business world, like what it
Yeah.
takes, right?
Yeah.
If you have a linear way of thinking, you're more likely to skip out on the brain waves over here and over here and over here. But when you have ADHD, you have multiple tabs going on in your brain at one time,
Hmm.
and you're able to really multitask, but also see things that other people would never see. And I think, especially when you are really in tune with Holy Spirit and you've been
Hmm.
born again, it's amplified. And I just feel like there's so many things that I'm able to put together. And it's not that it's better than anyone, but that's not it at all. It's just that I'm able to put things together from decades ago to today and see the big picture and then also be able to communicate that to people. And that's what I love to do with my content. Um, I'm not book smart. I did well, but I had to work so hard on my schooling.
Hmm.
I don't have a photographic memory, but I seem to remember really interesting tidbits that lead to what can go on today. And when I've worked with clients, it's the same thing. Like the creativity that they have and the incredible things that people can do in the online space and business in general, and just design. You're in the world of design, right? So
Hmm.
like that comes from this zest of creativity and
Yeah.
always wanting to improve.
Yeah.
So I think there's so many advantages. I mean, do you ever follow the Holderness family? You
No.
know, they're these creators in the States anyway. Phenomenal YouTube channel and always on social media. He has a song about ADHD. He is himself, and he created this book called ADHD is Awesome.
Okay.
And their content is non-political, it's non-anything. It's just funny. It's just feel good, funny. And the words and the songs and the things that they come up with are brilliant and they just make life better. But if he did not have what he had,
Hmm.
he wouldn't be able to create what he does. And so
Right.
he talks about that in this book. And I just think that ADHD can get a bad rap.
Hmm.
Um, and there's so many benefits to it.
I agree with you on what you just said about a bad rap. And I think that's maybe because, teachers and doctors, they just want to label it and they want to give you medication for it and stifle it rather than nurture it and use it to the person's advantage. I know you had mentioned that you took a break from social media. Was that from posting and scrolling or just from all of it?
Cold turkey. Because I realized I'd been on it for 18 years.
Yeah.
And I started listening to a really incredible podcaster in the Christian space. Her name is Stephanie Gass, online business for Christian women.
Oh.
And she gave me the so-called permission that I'd been praying for. She said, and she's built up a podcasting empire at this
Oh.
point. Just heart-centered, fun-loving woman. And she's just like, listen, you do not have to be chained to that vehicle. You do
Mhm.
not have to be a slave to social media anymore. And God really called me out on it. And it was like I ran this workshop and I was doing all these reels and I was doing all these things to like fill the room. I had my best result from my workshop ever. And afterwards, I was so exhausted and I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. And so I just stopped. And guess what happened? God showed up for me because I've been an avid networker. I'm always in my DMs. I'm still talking with people. I still have Facebook Messenger very active and did the whole
Right.
time. But he's like, here you go. Here's a client.
Mm.
What?
Yes.
Week later, here's another client. Out of the woodwork, out of Chicago. What? No way. Third
Wow.
week, fourth week, client.
Wow.
Fifth week, exchange client.
Wow.
What? No way. And we were renovating at the time our home. We live in an older home and we decided to take the plunge and renovate. So I didn't even have an office space for about I think they were here 13 weeks. So I was going back and forth to like neighbors kind of place and I was
Oh,
just
really?
duct taping an office space together and I would always have to be cleaning up at night and
Yeah.
getting the house ready again for the family.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I was scrolling social right now, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have time for this.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't stay out of the world online. I lived in YouTube and I learned a ton and it was awesome because here's what I learned, Cindy, is the algorithm is telling me my friends' interests and comments. So you notice how when you're on Facebook and you would put up a comment in a group or on some page and it would show you who you know.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, how the heck does it do that? Like, I have
Mhm.
2,600 friends on Facebook. What the heck? Why is this person who is in my network showing up? And I didn't want to know what my people were caring about because it was influencing my ability and my discernment. And so, what I did as I was like, so YouTube has tons of comments. I was doing market research, obviously, but I was like, this is beautiful. I'm with complete strangers, but
Mhm.
I'm still in a community where I feel supported. I could watch Christian content. I was learning right, left, and center. This is such a breath of fresh air because I'm not censoring myself based on what I think other people might see, especially because around Christian content, right?
Mhm.
Also, I was able to listen to God and hear his voice because I
Mhm.
wasn't obsessed with this algorithm
Yeah.
that was feeding me stuff. Plus, I've been fed so many ads in the coaching world. It is all
Mhm.
ads. Oh,
Hmm.
and it is sleazy DMs. And
Yeah.
here's the big kicker. At one point, because I've been following coaches for 5 years, various ones, and they're all like, just add people, just network, just get out there. You got to add your pipeline, got to add people. Well, I had over 2,000 people in my DMs.
Oh, wow.
2,000 in one day.
Wow.
Just went like this, and I
Yeah.
started swiping, and then I would put a tally mark on my page because I was like, I don't know who this person is.
Mm.
They're just trying to sell me something.
Yes.
I
Wow.
got rid of I got rid of 1,100 people in one day.
Wow.
Now, I say that because picture someone who's massively distracted with ADHD
Hmm.
naturally
Hmm.
and inattentive.
Hmm.
Anytime a DM pops up, anytime notifications pop up, I'm in the middle of writing an email. I'm in the middle of this. I could be in the middle of a coaching session and my phone would, not that I would take it, but it would still block,
Right.
right?
Grab your attention. Yeah.
I have kids. I have a
Hmm.
marriage. I'm renovating. I'm like, I don't want this. And so
Yes.
I took ownership of it and I just got rid of them. I was at my friend's house and I just like, look at this tally page. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, look, this is how many DMs I had. She's not in business. And she was like, what? I
Wow.
said, I left 500 on here of people
Wow.
that said something to me and
Hmm.
that I know that we would have vice versa
A
connection.
common interest. Yeah.
But if you think about that, that's sad. Like, that's the way our world is so consumed with being friends. And I really learned who my
Yeah.
friends were during some traumatic things, right? So,
Yeah.
COVID, for one,
Hmm.
really learned who my friends were when I
Right.
was not allowed out of my house. So, I was like, I don't want to do this game.
Yeah.
I'm rebel. God use me
Yes.
where I'm supposed to be. And it got me closer to people in my church, Cindy. It got me closer to like exploring a Sabbath. I actually started this process of going off my phone completely on the
Mm.
weekends.
Wow.
And that was hard.
Hmm.
And I realized I was like, I'm straight up addicted to scrolling. And it's just
Hmm.
my nervous system
Right.
messed up. And I'm not a good mom because I'm not sleeping enough. I
Mm.
love to work out in the morning. I was
Hmm.
waking up to do that because I was scrolling.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I have to confess, I don't do a lot, like I keep busy during the day and I don't do a lot of scrolling. So when I go to bed, it's like I spend an hour
yeah.
scrolling. Uh, I do need to nip that in the bud, but but we are in control. Like we do have control, and we can't blame it on, we have to, just like you did, we have to take control and decide what is more important. What is the most important? Yeah.
Yeah, and at that season, I mean, my daughter was in grade 4, my other one was in grade 8. We're
Mm,
very big into cheerleading and
mm,
travel, and I mean, the kids are still busy in sports.
yeah.
And I'm just like, I want to be there for my family. And
Hmm.
my girls, as a result of me being off of there, like my oldest for being 13, she's not a screen kid. Like we obviously watch YouTube on the main Apple
Yeah.
TV,
Yeah.
but we're not we got rid of iPads
Mm,
completely, and my daughter has a phone, but it's mostly like to text me when to pick her up. She's
right.
in her bag,
Yeah.
um, and I just know so many other families who struggle with the devices with their kids,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I have to be a role model here.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was key
Exactly.
for me. And and I keep saying God put me in the wilderness, and I'm when you think about how addicted we are as a society to our phones.
Hmm.
Not that I wasn't on my phone, but he put me in the wilderness from social media because it is like the wilderness when you're not on Facebook. Like you actually miss out on things.
Right. Or you think you do.
But no, I truly did. I missed out on quite a few different things. And the hard part is that I would then have to go in because they'll be like, oh, if you want to sign up for this thing at the church, for instance, to go through
Oh.
the Facebook page.
Oh,
So I would
right.
put the app on my phone
Right.
And then before I knew it, I was like, oh, I'm curious about blah, blah, blah. And then I,
Right.
there goes a half an hour. And so I
Yeah.
just took the app off my phone again.
Yeah.
And me not posting, if I can just say, I went back on my birthday because I had started my podcast and my YouTube channel. And I just
Mm.
wanted to say, hey guys, this is what I've been up to.
Yeah.
I've been on forever. I didn't make a big deal about it. I just simply said, hey,
Yeah.
if anyone would like to learn about
Yeah.
Christian life with ADHD, this is what I got going on.
Yeah.
And I still received a ton of birthday messages, which was really awesome. But I was like, there's more to life.
Yeah. Well, that's how I connected with you. And
Yeah.
I thought, see, I had been praying about what God wanted me to do because as we spoke before we started recording, my mom and my son passed away this past summer, and you reassess your life, or I did anyway, and am I doing what God wants me to do, and how can I best serve the Lord
Yeah.
during my everyday. So that's why we have this podcast for Christ now. What other products and services do you provide?
So I have been a one-on-one coach primarily for the last 5 years. I've had a couple of beta groups here and there. To be honest with you, because I was a social worker, I find it hard to be one of those coaches that's like, this is my program. This is my exact thing.
Right.
So I meet people where they're at. I've got a background that is pretty extensive in mental health and a number of areas, but I really want to help with systems. So
Mm.
when I talk about systems, it's like the everyday things that are taking away your peace,
Mm.
maybe within your business, say like your digital clutter
Mm.
on your desktop, inside your email,
Right.
losing important documents, and then around your office and your house, but
Right.
also creating systems around chores
Mm-hmm.
and actually not living on Pinterest and those rabbit holes, but being like, okay, this is a achievable system I could make for making meals for my family while I run my business.
Right. Nice.
And so looking at those types of systems, I did build out something called the ADHD Success Sisterhood. And to be honest with you, I've been so busy making content recently, I haven't got it up and started, but I do work one-on-one with people. And so right now, that's the main way I'm doing it. And I am
Mm-hmm.
building this into the fall. So I just love connecting with people and supporting them where they're at.
Is all of this information on your website? Because I'll put that in the description below this video.
It's more or less booking a call at this.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is I'm just being straight up authentic around it is because I don't know what it would look like. So I don't have packages on my website at this time because I
Okay.
completely rebranded. But
Right.
I just love coffee conversations
Yeah.
and discovery calls, strategy call, whatever you
Absolutely. Yeah.
want. I'm just a really authentic way of looking at it. I don't want to play a lot of the games. I'm not a bait and switch person. So I know a lot of people get on calls with
Yeah.
coaches kind of bait and
Exactly.
switch. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
So
Would you like to end in a prayer?
I would love to. I really want to thank you for this, Cindy. Dear Heavenly Father, you show up for us time and time again. Not for us just as believers, but as those who are just feeling the seeds being planted for you. And we just know that you bring people together in miraculous ways, Lord, and that we turn to you when we can put down our phones, when we can put down these devices or distractions, Lord. And when we come to you, we can really just settle in. And we just thank you for this chance to have a coffee conversation. I just want to bless Cindy with her venture here, Lord, with her business and her mission and, bringing people to you, God. It's such a beautiful way of living. And I
Yes.
just want to bless her and her family
Yes,
and the
Jesus.
future of this beautiful show. Thank you for your time, Lord, and just for your stewarding of what this is for both her and my business, but also everyone who's listening. Just bless the listener right now, Lord, for whatever reason they clicked a button on this podcast, and we know that we just want to be there for them too. So we say this in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Erin.
See you.
Have a great day. If you have a business and you want to tell the world about your products and services, if you are a Jesus follower and you want to share that with viewers, there's a guest wait list for you to fill out, and that gives me some information about you. You can go to the description below this video and click on the link. If you or somebody you know would like to be a guest on my podcast, you can just go to my website, coffeeconnectionspodcast.com, fill out the guest wait list. Basically just ask for a little bit of information about you, whether you want to meet in person or on Zoom, what your industry is, and what you want to talk about. Maybe you have a new product or a new service that you want everybody to know about. So it's as easy as that. I'll reach out to you and we will book something that works for both of us.